Hello! Hello, James.
Hello, I was singing along with the music there.
What's your favourite bit of the music? I like when it goes. I
like where it gets where it goes into the
Yeah, I like it when it distinctly changes tempo part way through, and which might be because it's a really old record that has warped and it's not meant to do that. That's what I like.
It suddenly starts going downhill in a good way, but in a good way downhill.
It's like it's got the Doppler effect contained in it, and this record has passed you, and suddenly it's like, yeah. I love it.
Does it have lyrics, Red Queen Liz?
I think it does, but I don't know them. But James,
what?
Let me get the admin out of the way. Haircut. Haircut. You've had a haircut, James, and
I've had a haircut very recently.
A little Tintin quiff at the front there.
Yeah, it's only first styling. It's on its first styling, apart from the obligatory ruffle up as you leave the barbers. And this is observational comedy that is literally over your head, Alistair, I'm presuming.
Yeah. I was just dealing with some audio technical issues while you talked about hair stuff, because what is the deal with haircuts? I don't know. It's just a question.
What actually happens to you? Did it just stop growing?
The hair? No, sometimes I take it back a little bit. I tend to keep it sort of nipple high. Although,
what if the nipples change height?
Which is happening as age makes fools of us all. Yeah, as they drift gradually. The rest of the body's staying in the same place, and they are just drifting. I'm stopping myself because I think this is in violation of Twitch's terms of service. I'm not sure.
I think you're allowed to talk about nipples, but you can't paint so good a picture with your words that people could see it, and then we'd get taken down.
This is the problem with my gift, James. It's as if you are seeing them. That's the problem. That's why I can't.
You're too good at describing things.
Yeah, with my linguistic gifts, it's a real danger.
Are they like ears and noses in that they continue to grow? Nipples.
Certainly in my experience.
And that's actually what gave rise to some of the vampire myths, because they dig up graves and they'd find that after death even the nipples had continued to grow.
They said that about Hitler as well. Did you ever hear the story of Hitler's nipples after death? Absolutely massive. Hits nips. Yeah. So welcome to Loremen, the leading Hitler nipple podcast
discussion
live stream.
Hitler nipple conspiracy purveyors, I think.
When the mainstream media won't tell the truth about Hitler's nipples, it falls on ordinary citizens like me and James here.
Yep.
What can I say? Someone's got to ask the important questions. What size were Hitler's nipples?
At the point of death.
Did he even have two? Because we know, it like...
Yes. Maybe he had 3 or 4. We don't know. I don't think anyone thought to count.
3. Dritten. The third nip.
I don't know what nipple is in German. I could obviously have a guess.
I'm going to assume it's like Niffel. Niffel?
Yeah.
Ach, mein Niffels.
Ich habe meinen Nippel gekauft in meinem Lederhosen mechanism. Mechanism.
So, welcome to our folklore podcast. So I'll do it properly, shall I? Welcome to Loremen, a podcast about local legends, Hitler's nipples, and obscure curiosities from days of yore. I'm Alistair Beckett-King.
And I'm James Shakeshaft.
And it is warm. It is
Wow.
hot in here. And not just because of all that nipple chat.
Yes, although that didn't help. It is hot. It is hot nipple season, frankly.
Sorry, I've just finally glanced at the chat, and none of it is remotely repeatable. This is... Although apparently the German word for nipple is nipple. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you, James?
Meine nipples is krank, of course. Of course. Meine nipples sind Schmerz. I don't know what that is. I know Bauch. I know your Bauch can Schmerz.
Yes, smart. Smart means hurt, doesn't it? Like, ow, that's smart.
Yeah.
For example.
What have you been up to, Alistair, in the heat?
I went on holiday to Devon for a couple of days, to a place with virtually no folklore.
Or internet.
Or internet, yeah. So I somehow managed to squeeze a few megabytes of a video out to you, and you very kindly edited it for me, making me look like an idiot.
On to the people.
Yes.
I did make you look as much like an idiot as I could.
I noticed that. There's loads of probably great content, presumably, in there. I haven't watched it back. I was very hot when I recorded it, so I don't remember what I said. But we'll play that later on. If you haven't seen that field report, we'll play that later on while we think about scores, and I'd maybe pop to the toilet and have a wee. Could be for any reason. The pause could be there for any purpose.
Do you need to in this heat, though? Would you need to wee?
Yeah, it's because it's mostly just coming out of the... You lose most of your urine through the top of your head in this weather.
90%.
It's just a fact, 90%. Maid of Bees is saying, didn't expect to learn this much German from a folklore podcast. Not going to lie. Not going to lie, not a lot of that was actually German, so do watch out.
Is that what NGL means?
I assume it means not going to lie. What do you think NGL means?
Nigel. I thought it was a thing.
Can anyone confirm if I'm right? I just assumed it was not going to lie.
Could anyone confirm if I'm right? If I'm right?
Come on, Nigel. There's got to be a Nigel in the chat. We've got to have... If any podcast has listeners called Nigel, it's got to be ours. A lot of people are typing Nigel, just typing Nigel with no information.
Oh, I didn't expect to learn this much German folklore from... sorry, I didn't expect to... Oh, my God. Didn't expect to be able to speak whilst doing a live stream. Didn't expect to learn this much German from a folklore podcast. Oh, well... That would have been a great... We can all imagine what I thought it said, right?
Say it once more for the edit version of it, James. And everyone has to still laugh and say that was really funny in the chat, even though he's had 9 run-ups at this.
Didn't expect to learn this much German from a folklore podcast, Nigel. Nah, that was all off. That was all off.
I still enjoyed it. I'll just edit in the Nigel from that bit, and it'll be fine. We'll patch that together. Everyone's saying it was really funny, and this I can tell they're being sarcastic, Nigel. But still,
Nigel gonna lie. Haters gonna hate. Nigel's gonna lie.
It's true, though. It is true. You shouldn't say it, but it's true.
There's definitely one famous lying Nigel that we're all not going to talk about because we've done enough of his sort already this podcast.
Yes.
So I'm glad that I now know that, but I wonder what other things I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, LOL. Lol is also a name. Did you just think people were talking about a guy called Lol?
Yeah, short for lolly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just a happy little message for lol. Lots of love. Oh no, it's laughing out loud, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, because you're from Chipping Norton, where just like David Cameron
did
everybody
that,
thinks
he?
LOL means lots of love. Yeah.
And genuinely, my mum does, and I found that out when my granddad died.
Sorry to laugh, James. Sorry to laugh out loud. Sorry, I meant to express love towards you.
Lots of love.
That's what I was trying to do, and it got confused because of the old internet lingo. Anyway, my sincere apologies, Nigel.
I think anyone who's listened to today's little preview episode knows the struggles that I have with my mouth turning against me at the moment. I think it's the heat. I think in the heat it's kind of... It's got all flabby and baggy, and it just won't do what I'm trying to get it to do. So I'm very glad I'm not telling the story today.
And I am telling the story.
You are.
I'm not glad at all about that. I am, and it's very warm, so I'm just going to do my best. So what's going to happen if you haven't joined us before is we're recording an episode of our podcast, but you're here, so you can heckle a bit and sometimes correct us. Or make jokes that we will steal. And when it comes to the scoring, we will ask the chat for suggestions for categories to save having to think. Because usually by that point in the podcast, at least one of us is asleep. Would you agree with that, James?
Yes. Yeah.
If not actually asleep, mentally just kind of shut down, basically.
Yeah. On that bit, when you're nowadays you're in a Zoom meeting and your eyes start geckoing around the room. I found I get that a lot towards the end of the day. No, separately. Like you're trying to stay awake at the end of a day, a warm day in a Zoom meeting, and they're all over the shop. I just have to hope that it's not picking up on the Zoom, but I really definitely do big weird eyes in the afternoon.
Well, anyway, I'm Alistair Baker.
I'm
joined by Big Weird Eyes, James Big Weird Eyes Shakeshaft, and
BWE.
I've got a ghost story. In fact, I see this as a medicinal ghost story because it is so chilling, James. So
perfect.
So plausibly chilling that it'll be like an ice cube down your back, but without the sort of sexy connotations.
Sexy?
Yeah, I said it and regretted it instantly.
Yeah, it's more like a bullying thing that happened at school for me.
Is that, are you sure you didn't just have very sexy bullies at school?
I went to a sex school.
It's impossible to expand upon that riff and stay within the terms of service.
Yes, definitely.
Of the platforms that are streaming us. So let's leave it at that. James,
Harry French in the YouTube comments is correcting me. It's a chameleon rather than a gecko eyes. I was trying to, and you know what? They're blooming right.
Oh,
sorry.
Thank you very much, Harry French. Harry Le French.
Harry Francais.
Yes, that's how he would say it. My story for you, James.
Where?
Harold. My story for you is called The Ghosts in the Window. Yeah? Are you chilled yet? I was hoping you would... newly shorn neck hairs bristling, are they? With fear?
If it hadn't all been burned off by a Turkish barber, my ear hairs would be on end. And this ghost story comes from Trinity Church, which is on Micklegate in York. You know the way all the streets in York have gates in their name? Did you know that? Yeah. Well, I got that there were a few from our chat with Amy about Brother Jacundus.
Of course.
Whitmer-Watmergate.
Whitmer-Watmergate, classic. And there's Micklegate, Petergate, Stonegate. And there's a sort of a classic chestnut of a joke that the tour guides do, which is that because there's Micklegate, and next to Micklegate there's Micklegate Bar, which is like bar as in Barbican, so it's the gate that the street runs through. So the joke is that in York the streets are called gates, and the gates are called bars, and the bars are called pubs. And you could have several American tourists chuckling into their fanny packs with that one.
I prefer my Watergate one, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's not as good. It's not as good as your Watergate joke. I agree.
Actually spilled water.
Did you?
Unintentionally.
Is that what Watergate comes from? When
that was my Watergate.
When Richard Nixon spilt a little water. Then if it were to freeze, Frost Nixon. Anyway.
Oh,
I'm so hot.
You're not sleepy at all. Guys,
no
you're like you're cold-blooded, so they must just get more and more awake as it gets
I'm basking on a rock. and then retiring to the shade to maintain my temperature.
Mm-hmm.
So according to William Page's history of the county of York, this church has been there for flipping ages. I think it might be one of the oldest churches in the area. So it goes back to the 11th century, and it was the Holy Trinity Church, or Holy Trinity Priory, was an alien house.
Oh,
yeah, which is a way less exciting thing than it sounds like. But that's a church whose mother church is in France. So it's a church which is attached to the French church rather than the English church.
alien.
Le church alien, as Harry French would say. So I just included that because it's got the phrase alien house in it. It's not interesting at all, but it sounds great.
So, yeah.
The rectors of the priory, the people who've been bosses of Holy Trinity Church, have some cracking names. I'd just like to give you a few of them from the 12th through to the 13th century. Hermar, or Hickmar, he was there in 1112. Helius Painel resigned in 1143. Helius Painel, Roger Pepin, William Wenge.
Nice.
A guy just called
William
Wenge. William Wenge.
Billy Wenge.
A guy just called Hamo. Just one word. Just
he's like
Madonna.
The Madonna of his day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Hamo. He didn't need a second thing. And my favourite, Odo Friquet. Or Odo Friquet, perhaps. It's probably French.
Way. That sounds like a delicious dinner.
I know. Odo Friquet. It's been there for even longer than that, though, because when excavating the church in 1688, they found the tomb of a Roman soldier dating back to the 1st or 2nd century AD. And he had been a standard bearer in the 9th Legion. The 9th Legion, James. The vanished 9th Legion. The 9th Legion that went missing and nobody knows what happened to it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
I assumed that was far too well known for our podcast. The 9th Legion famously were in the north of England and then appeared to go into Scotland, and then nobody knows what happened to them. But I think we all know what happened to them.
Yeah.
Can you glass an entire legion? I don't know.
Can you then.
Can you chin a region? I think you could chin a region.
Chin a legion.
Chin a legion.
Chin a legion.
Oh, James, I've just Watergated myself.
You've had your own water.
Oh no!
That was your Watergate.
Oh, this is why they say, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." Here I was going, James, with your Watergate, and now look at me. I'm moist. So the name of that soldier, who was found in the tomb, I just think he's got the best name, Lucius Ducius. The douchiest soldier in the 9th Legion. Lucius Ducius. I could show you a picture of him. I don't want to show you a picture because I imagine him just wearing those sunglasses that come down. Like, oh yeah, riding in an open top car.
Oh, he's such a Ducius.
Lucius Ducius. His full name was Lucius Ducius Rufinus.
Oh.
And he is, as far as I'm aware, the only extant member of the missing 9th Legion. I think there's a good chance he screwed the others over in some way.
I think they hated him and left him behind because he was such a douchiest.
He was the douchiest.
So what, you douchers?
I douche, you douche. He, she douches.
He douchiest. Lucius douchiest.
And on the subject of being the douchiest, I have to clarify something now for legal reasons, which is that some of the information I just said appears on a website called genuki.org.uk, which is full of genealogical info about the history of Yorkshire, and a lot of the information is compiled by a man called Colin Hinson, like he's compiled a list of all the names of the people who are in charge of the priory. And as he makes very clear in his 9-page long copyright information, you are not allowed to copy the information he has gathered for anything other than personal use. And so I am not allowed to repeat any of the stuff on the website, in our podcast, or on the live stream. So I had to go and look it up in different sources. And you might think I'm exaggerating how uptight this guy is about copyright, but the copyright page is the only part of the website that is in public domain. And the copyright page includes a section titled "Excuses That Cut No Ice With Me." Which isn't the tone that copyright information is normally written in. I don't even have time to read all of the excuses that cut no ice with Colin Hinson. But here are a selection of excuses for copyright infringement that Colin does not tolerate.
Is one of them funny names? But they were funny.
Yeah, they were funny. And that is why I had to go and look them up in William Page's History of the County of York and not your website, Colin, because it's the same information.
It sounds like Lucius wasn't the douchiest.
There is a douchier. Colin Hinson's excuses that cut no ice with me. I didn't realise I wasn't allowed to copy it, despite there being a link to the conditions of use at the page at the bottom of the copied page. This is as written. I'm just adding a voice to it. I took over the website from someone else.
You're toning it down. Yeah.
So send my invoice to them. Oh. I didn't know that the copyright symbol meant I couldn't copy it. This is the worst of all. It doesn't have to say copyright on it. Copyright is automatic. And finally, I didn't think you would mind. Really? That's all he says. Really? Me? You didn't think Colin Hinson...
a link to all those 9 pages again.
It's like, did you see the above? Like, you didn't think the guy whose whole deal is minding a massive amount about this, you didn't think I would mind?
Ironically infringes Quentin Tarantino's copyright to use that John Travolta gif of him looking...
He's like a loan shark who's like, oh, you want a list of the incumbents of Trinity Church? Well, I can get it for you, but it ain't gonna be free. You know, now you owe me, okay? Well, you have to give me £100. He doesn't ask for £100, though he does say that getting the information yourself would cost you £100. So,
what does he want? What does he want?
He wants you to use the information for your own personal use and never reproduce it anywhere, even though it's just a list of historic facts that I now know in my brain. Facts. But it's illegal for me to know them and to tell you.
You can't remember them. You could just read them, but never recall them.
And then I have to brainwipe them out. So that is a potted history of Holy Trinity Church on Micklegate in York, featuring no information from Colin Hinson.
Do you think that, like the audience survey put fake roads in to trick people?
He mentions that he does that. But explain the audience survey thing just in case people don't know.
Mayo. What was the one whose name had an exclamation mark as part of their name?
Hamo.
Hamo. Do you think he's the fake one?
No, because I got it from a different book. But yeah, he does specifically say that he has used clever arrangements of words. Maybe Colin Hinson himself is the fake. Whoa. So let's hope Colin's not listening. Or if he is, get in touch. Let us know what you thought of me devoting a good section of the podcast to making fun of your copyright notice.
Look, Colin, let us know if that cuts any ice.
Does sarcasm cut any ice, Colin?
I think he must do, because he is little I thought it came from a different place. We'll send their invoice to them. Or whatever it was.
Wow. Anyway, so friend of the podcast, Sabine Baring-Gould, wrote a book with, I think, a great title, Yorkshire Oddities, Incidents and Strange Events, which, in fact, I discovered because I saw somebody tweeting it at the Loremen handle on Twitter. So one of our listeners already has this book, and that's where I came upon this story of the ghosts in the window at Trinity Church, Micklegate, York.
Micklegate.
It's the swinging 1860s, James. Picture it.
Sideburns.
Sideburns are the length you would expect for the time. Women present to some extent. The 60s. In fact, 1866, and Sabine Baring-Gould receives a letter from an old pupil of his, who is now a grown-up man, in fact a clergyman, one of the top types of man, asking for his help, having had a strange experience in Trinity Church. And the letter is written in that cracking 19th century, needlessly polite way. He asks Sabine Baring-Gould, If you have ever heard anything of it, and can help me in explaining it, I shall be grateful, as it perplexes me, as one is always teased when something which one cannot account for has been brought to one's notice. Oh. So what... and by the way, Sabine Baring-Gould doesn't give the names of any of the people who have written to him. He just gives their initials. So this guy's initials are A.B. Yeah. So for the purposes of this, let's call him Antonio Banderas, just to be safe.
Good.
I'm not sure I can keep that up for all of the other correspondence, but we'll try. The ghost, or I should say, the ghosts. Oh, I just went out of focus. The ghosts in the window at Micklegate Church are a really weird spectre. So it's a fairly small church with a gallery, like a raised stage area that you can go up to, a little mezzanine level. And if you sit on the mezzanine level facing the altar, ahead of you is the east window at the end of the church. Now, I've got a picture of what the east window looks like now. I can just show us that now. Oh, isn't it beautiful? It's,
Jesus and that lot.
Absolutely cracking window. That's not the window that the story relates to. That is what that was put in, I think, in the early 20th century, presumably because the previous window was haunted. I can't prove that. But I do know that all the rectors that ran the place absolutely hated everyone banging on about the ghost and going to try and see the ghost. So I can't help but think that's one of the reasons that that they got rid of the window. Also, the little gallery you had to sit on to see the ghost, they also got rid of that. So I'm just saying, someone is trying to clamp down on this ghost, and that someone is the rector of the church, because it's kind of because basically it's like when you're doing stand-up. Like a bad open mic when you're new and they've still got the football on the TV in the background, but the football is a ghost, is what's happening. So what happens is, if you sit up there in the middle of the gallery and you look at the east window at the far end of the church, you see, in the style they say of a magic lantern slide being moved, you see figures moving on the glass, just under halfway up the glass, glowing bright figures. Mostly women, wearing it said a surplice, like a white religious gown.
Yes.
And what's fascinating about them is that they're seen all the time, and they always tell the same story. So here I'm going to read a little bit of Antonio Banderas's account. The peculiarity of the apparition is that it is a scene on the window itself, rather less than halfway from the bottom, as I saw it from the gallery, and has much the same effect as that of a slide thrown through a magic lantern when seen on the exhibiting sheet. The form is seen, I am told... No, I shouldn't have kept reading there. Forget that bit. A magic lantern when seen on the exhibiting sheet. The order... so basically, there are three characters that seem to appear. First, a nurse, a middle-aged woman of average height. Then, a mother, a tall, slender woman, and also a child. And they carry out a little sort of play, a sort of story. Antonio Banderas describes it as follows. The order of their proceedings, with slight variation, was this. The mother came alone from the north side of the window. That would be the left-hand side, from the gallery point of view. And having gone about halfway across, stopped, turned around, and waved around her arm towards the quarter whence she had come. Their signal was answered by the entry of the nurse with the child. Both figures then bent over the child and seemed to bemoan its fate. The mother then moved towards the other side of the window, taking the child with her, leaving the nurse in the centre of the window, from which she gradually retired towards the north corner whence she had come. After some little time, she again appeared, bending forward and evidently anticipating the return of the other two, who never failed to reappear from the south side of the window where they had disappeared. The same gestures of despair and distress were repeated, and all three retired together to the north side of the window. And that was said to happen again and again, week in, week out, even several times within the same service, especially on Trinity Sunday, but also at other times. Pretty spooky.
Right. Yeah, pretty spooky.
Pretty decently spooky.
Pretty decently spooky.
I want to add some detail to how they appeared on the window.
Yes. Because at the moment I'm imagining sort of glowing figures, but I can't imagine how you'd be able to tell one was a nurse specifically.
It's very odd. So the windows were described as being tawdry green stained glass, but around the edge was clear glass. So as they moved in and out of sort of the window segments, you could catch more detail. So you could see little bits of detail, but obviously it's through stained glass, so it's quite distorted. But they're described as wearing like classical robes. So again, Antonio Banderas describes seeing an arm bare to the shoulder with a beautiful folds of white drapery hanging from it, like they pictured on a Greek vase. Nothing could be plainer than the drag of the robes on the ground after the figures as they retired at the edge of the window where the clear glass was. So Sabine Baring-Gould starts looking into this, and he contacts other people who've got accounts. An LS. Now, I've searched, I can't think of anybody who has the initials LS who I can do an impression of. So, Lisa Simpson, can't really do that.
Who?
Lisa Simpson?
Can't you?
Larry
Lisa
Sanders.
Simpson, Leo
really.
Sayer.
I thought about Leo Sayer. Where's he from?
The past.
I'll just guess what Leo Sayer sounds like. Is he from Birmingham? I hope he is.
He is.
I'm going with it. I'm genuinely sweating. This is outrageously warm. Yeah. I don't. Maybe it's this ghost moisture. Leo Sayer describes the veil was a pure white, flowing back as a train, and says that the figure appeared to me to be decidedly outside the window and at a greater distance than was possible for anyone to be. The pure white of the robe quite obliterated the colours in the window. The distinct outline of the figure was most striking, says Leo Sayer.
Right.
Now,
so what? So you're halfway up in the. You're on a mezzanine level.
You're on a mezzanine.
You're looking at halfway up a stained glass window, and there's what appears to be basically glowing people on the other side of that window.
Yes.
But they would have to be floating in the air to get the angle.
Yes. This is the question, because I've got more details, and I've even got diagrams coming up.
Well, yes, that's what we want.
But what you've described there is exactly right. So you are visualizing it correctly.
Right.
There's a story that goes along with an explanation of the story we're seeing there, which is that during plague times, there was a young family, a father, a mother, and a child, and the father died and was buried at the east end of the church. In that area.
I thought you were going to say that the father was a nurse. You daft sexist.
Because I cannot operate on this child.
Fathers can be nurses too.
Because I'm a nurse, and that is not qualified. That is not how surgery works. It's not sort of a have a go type of a thing. So the mother and father both died, as did the little girl. But because the little girl died of plague, she was buried outside of town in the plague pit, and so this is the mother. The ghost of the mother going to fetch the little girl from her grave outside of town and bringing her to visit her father's grave.
With the help of a ghost of a nurse.
With the help of a ghost of a nurse, yeah.
They've still got to keep the same job after death. They don't even get a day off.
Yeah, it is really quite hard on the staff, yeah. That is true.
And she's working on a Sunday, evidently.
Good point. So hopefully she'll be getting like double pay.
Double ghost pay.
So there's no right. And the next account comes from someone with the initials HGFT. I cannot think of anybody. Hugh Grant, Francois Truffaut is the best I can do. I don't think I can do that accent.
Hugh Grant's flipping toupee.
Okay, with the voice of Hugh Grant's flipping toupee. This guy, Hugh Grant, wrote in 1874, having read about it in the in Sabine Baring-Gould's book. He wrote into the Newcastle Daily Chronicle and told his.
I was really worried you were going to say, having read about it on Colin's website. Like, oh no!
Having heard about it from Colin Hinton.
Brass him up.
He was found shot in the back of the head.
With an ice cube and a knife. and the ice cube was, I mean, it seemed to be untouched.
So Hugh Grant says importantly that the ghost is it's often seen as a distinct. It's often seen as distinctly on dark, rainy, or snowy day. I'm kind of doing bad Hugh Laurie more than Hugh Grant. It's often seen distinctly on a dark, rainy, or snowy day, as when the sun is shining. When I saw it, the sun was not bright. I'm going to read that again, but correctly for the podcast. It's often seen as distinctly on a dark, rainy, or snowy day, as when the sun is shining. When I saw it, the sun was not bright. One of my friends, with a companion, has watched outside the wall, where he had full view of the whole place around during morning service. The ghost had been seen from the inside, while nothing outside was visible.
Good. That was my next question.
Because, James, I mean, I know you. You know me. I knew the minute I was going to tell you there was a ghost in the window, you'd be like, but window, do they know how windows work, is the phrase I've been waiting to hear from you.
Yeah.
Did they understand windows in those days?
Were they just looking at some people rehearsing a play?
This is
about a sad baby.
This is the very controversial question. What was happening? What is this essentially just a window? But before we move on to the theories, I have one more ghost for you that allegedly appears in the window, and that is the ghost of the Mother Superior from when it was a nunnery. And this story is quite different. When you remember when Henry VIII dissolved the monasteries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it in the video.
I said it in the video
really
that's coming up.
You were gonna.
I was about to make a little dissolve. I was about to make a joke
but you were
about dissolving the
distracted,
minerals.
as we'll see later.
As we will find out, I was distracted and unable to make a really cheap dissolving pun.
I think it's good. I'd never thought of it before. I think it's a solid bit. Don't let whatever puts you off put you off.
All right. And what happened was they sent a gang of lads round to dissolve it, and the Mother Superior said, "No, I won't let you come in." And there was a standoff, and that standoff is recorded in a poem. I'm sorry, James. By
Who wrote this poem?
E.A. Ould, which if
owl.
If I've ever heard a Yorkshire name, E.A. Ould is the Yorkshire Snake.
Old.
It's only got one consonant in it, basically. It's just all the vowels. E.A. Ould. E.A. Ould. Writing in Yorkshire Chronicle.
All of them.
I forgot to mention, I looked this up in Yorkshire Legends and Traditions by Reverend Thomas Parkinson, not Colin Hinson's website.
Not Colin Hinton's website.
Which is a book I will return to because it also has a chapter called The Worm of Sex How? So, I didn't know there was a worm there.
Out of interest, can we give out Colin Hinton's web address, or is that also embargoed?
I don't know. Yeah, the only thing that's in public domain is his aggressive copyright notice.
He really puts the aggressive in aggressive.
Mr. J. Hardacre is asking if this is another video break because I need a wee. Yeah, we've acknowledged that's the reason. Yeah. It's a medical thing, maybe, for all you know. It isn't. So here is E.A. Ould writing in Yorkshire Chronicle. A pause. The word advance is given. A rush, a muffled tread, a weary sigh. The moon on high. A holy woman dead. A throng of scared and shrieking nuns. A band of ruthless men. A furious mob without, and yells of execration. Then a struggle fierce, and flames that burst on high with lurid light. These were the sounds that met the ear. These were the scenes that froze with fear upon that fateful night. Those days have passed and perished. 3 centuries have fled since that stony portal gate. Since in that stony portal gate the martyred nun lay dead.
Oh.
Did you enjoy that poem? You look like you were sort of enjoying it.
I did. I really liked the beginning bit, and then I kind of got lost, and then came back in for the end with the dead nun in the doorway. What was the bit where they said about a gang of lads without any aim?
A furious mob without, meaning a furious mob outside.
Oh right, but what was the next words?
A furious mob without and yells of execration.
Oh, I thought it was saying a furious mob without angels, but complete lack of larynx. A furious mob, we are angels. Right, I see.
Deep Fried Duck says
they killed the nuns. They killed the nuns.
They killed the nuns. They killed the nuns. Deep Fried Duck says the Shrieking Nuns had a fantastic debut record in '76. That's good. They did not dissolve the nuns. No. Yes. And some people say that the figure wearing a surplice is that nun. So that's like a fourth extra ghost that I'm throwing in there.
That's good ghost.
So basically what happens after that is you've got a flame war going on in the Newcastle Chronicle between HGFT, Hugh Grant's flaming toupee, at that time incumbent rector of Trinity Church, and someone called Novo Castrensis, who is presumably like a sock puppet of one of the other people in the argument, but has just adopted a fake name on Twitter. His little avatar would be an egg. And they argue about what is really going on. And there are several theories. Okay, now one of them is that across from the east window there's a little cottage, and a guy called JL, don't know his name, writes in to suggest that there is John Lennon writes in to suggest that there's a window that opens up in the cottage across the way, and what happens is the light of the sun catches on that window and it glints across the way into projects onto the window, you see. So that's all you're seeing, just glinting windows every time someone opens the window. So that's one theory.
It's not even the most impressive stained glass window in the Beatles.
So that's one, I think you'll agree, crap theory that does absolutely in no way explains seeing three figures carrying out repeated actions.
What an elaborate reflection that would look like this whole story.
Yeah, I don't buy that one at all. And then there is the Rectus Theory, which is backed up by an anonymous personage's research. And I'm going to show you the drawings done by this anonymous person. So you can see here at the top there, that is a floor plan with the church on the right, and on the left you've got the little cottage, and at the bottom, I'll go a little bit closer so you can see it. This is the theory. The theory of what's happening. So on the right you've got you, James, sitting in the gallery. In the middle you've got the window, and the beautifully labelled pseudo ghost and real ghost.
Oh,
it's not clear to me what it means by real ghost, but I think it means that a person standing there would appear to be a ghost in the window. So there is a little cottage across from the church, the same one with the magic window. The idea being that simply people moving in and out of the door of that church and crossing the yard are what is being seen inside the church, and that explains it. There's simply no mystery. That is the other theory. And
right.
I think it stinks to high heaven, James.
What are they doing there when they should be in church?
Jim Moon's asking if it's a variation on Pepper's Ghost. It sounds like it could be. Do you know what Pepper's Ghost is, James?
Is it to do with John Lennon?
It's not to do with John Lennon, but I'll explain it in the voice of John Lennon. If you're not familiar with Pepper's Ghost, it's an early magic trick. And by the voice of John Lennon, I mean generic beetle, like not a specific beetle.
Voice actor in Yellow Submarine.
Yes, one of those guys, yeah. Oh, God help us. If it's an old magic trick, Pepper's Ghost, where an angled piece of glass shows a lighted figure. So off stage, there's a person dressed in a sheet being hit with the limelight. And then a piece of glass at 45 degrees is on stage. And when that light lifts up and down, the ghost appears to appear and disappear. But of course that wouldn't work inside a building, because when you're looking out through stained glass, it's much brighter outside. So you're not seeing, you couldn't be possibly seeing any reflections from the inside of the church. But they could be. But great suggestion. Thank you for that. Good guess.
What's that one that you get on a mountain?
Oh, where you get your own shadow projected onto the
clouds. Your own shadow in big on a cloud in front of you.
I think that's being Jesus, that one. I think if that happens, it means you're Jesus.
It's God's house, isn't it, the church?
Yeah. So what I did, there's only one way I thought to resolve this. I took these plans. And
what is the top? I got no clue what those lines
it's a full
are.
plan.
At the top.
They're all.
Are they something else?
Maybe this will make it a little bit easier. I'm going to show you this, James. Can you see that?
Whoa!
Yeah. So I now need to do another
Didn't have
bad
time
impression.
to paint it. Sorry, it's not to scale.
Yes, I was about to say you'll have to excuse the crudity of the model. I thought you'd enjoy that. A bad impression of Christopher Lloyd. So this is, according to that drawing, roughly following or closely following that really rough drawing that is not self-consistent. Right. On the right-hand side here, you can see the church, and on the left-hand side, you can see the little cottage, and you can see some people playing the thing. And there is a little holly tree in the middle there, and some gravestones that I've just added for spooky colour.
That's nice.
Yeah, they're not to scale. And look there, there's someone sitting in the gallery. That is that person. That is a lady in this case. Oh. So if I just go, okay. So now we're sitting in the gallery.
Where's the book depository?
So if you look back and to the left, what you can see, I'm going to zoom in. Now that's something that human eyes can't do.
No, took me a while to realise that.
Mm-hmm. You can see that on the left there's a person who would be standing just outside the window. And at the far end, you can see what people would look like roughly if they were standing right bang into that corner. And I suppose it's plausible that those figures could be walking backwards and forwards. However, and I'm going to zoom in even further to make sure everybody can see, you can't really see their feet. Now, I know that this drawing is not a scale. We can't research this any further because that window has been replaced and so has the entire gallery. There's no way of going to check, and the building on the left has been completely destroyed. But what I'm doing now is that position that I showed them in before, that is how it's shown on the diagram. But this wall is on the left is described as being 10 yards away from the wall of the church. So I've moved it to make it 10 yards away. If it's 10 yards away, as a second account says, there's absolutely no way you'd be able to see the feet of the ghosts in the distance. So how can it be possible? How can it be? I just don't understand, James. I don't think it's possible.
Could it be jumping?
The quote said, and I'll read it to you again. The quote from our original correspondent, Antonio Banderas, said, our original correspondent, Antonio Banderas, said, "Nothing could be plainer than the drag of the robes on the ground after the figures as they retired at the edge of the window where the clear glass was." Now, I'm not saying it's ghosts. You know that I'm a skeptic and I don't believe in ghosts. But everybody describes them wearing long robes, and they describe those long robes dragging on the ground, which is not how people dressed in the mid-19th century. And it doesn't seem likely that you'd be able to see long robes dragging on the ground. More importantly, I'm going to pop back to the 3D model for a second. If they're supposedly glowing so brightly that they shine through the glass, how is the sun hitting them? If the sun rises in the east and you're in church in the morning, the whole yard would be in shadow, and in order to be visible, they have to be standing right against the wall. It just doesn't add up, James. It just doesn't add up.
It doesn't. It does not add up. The only thing I would say is, if you were to wear an ankle-length dress and people couldn't see your feet, it would appear that your dress would be touching the ground.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that.
But they would also need to be on fire. And people would probably notice that, and that wouldn't be... I understand why they're so upset now, but...
Yeah, but then the thing is, then there'll be, a nurse and a mother, and then a child who was just a torso and arms. That, they would have mentioned that. That would be a horrifying scene. No wonder they'd be looking sadly at the child if it was just stumping about on its lower ribs. So there you go. I don't have an answer for you, James. All I can tell you is that it is unexplained.
Oh. And it is, to this day, unexplained. That's really... I want to have another little look at the...
Do you want to take us back to...
yeah.
I've just remembered that you can't because of how computers work. But here we are. What would you like to see? Do you want to spend a little bit more time in the model?
So, is that meant to be the nurse then, knocking it, who's just a sort of shoulders?
This person,
or is
here,
that just saying if it
that's
was
what a
someone
person
stood
would look
outside
like
the
if they?
church?
Yes, that is the pseudo ghost, as labelled in the other drawing. A person standing just outside the window, and that person, as you can see, would be barely visible. And that person is about 5.5 feet tall. That wall is about 5 feet tall. The middle wall, about 4 feet tall.
So
for
it
Europeans,
could be what it could very well could be is that those people in the cottage across the way are actually ghosts.
That's the most realistic explanation, isn't it? Because
they're ghosts that you just happen to see some ghosts through a window. They're not actually in the window.
They happen not to be in the window. They were just other. Red Queen Liz is asking why they're standing like that. It's because they're in a T pose, because it's a generic pose. But they could also just be really hench ghosts. You don't know. To be fair, the rector does say that the ghosts appeared when people were living in that cottage and didn't appear when people weren't living in that cottage. So it's like
when people were living in that cottage and were on fire.
And were going on fire. I think it's plausible that... sorry, Ropes of Sand has got onto Colin Hinson's website. Colin, I do not work for you or your website, Hinson.
Oh wow!
Please
let's leave him alone. I think he's got blood pressure problems.
Yes, we beg that you do not contact
don't
or in any
wind
way
him up.
harass
Please
Colin.
don't wind him up any more than he is. He does not need it on a day like today.
You insulted me. You insulted my website. You attacked Colin Hinson, and now you're gonna pay.
Alistair, that lovely model. If someone wanted to use that themselves, is that a sort of open source program, or would they need to?
Yeah, that's.
Do you hold the copyright for that model? Is kind of what.
Well, that is Blender 3D, which is open source. But James, I researched all of those little people, and I made that. So anybody who has seen that has committed a crime, basically. If that's in your brain now, you owe me £100, basically.
Oh. Are we going to see 9 more models that explain how? Just 9 more animations of someone being unable to cut ice.
I'm really hot. I think it's time for the field report that I did from Ilfracombe. Yes. Are you happy with that, James?
Toilet break. Yes.
So before we do the clever toilet break that nobody knows about. So we're going to move into the scores. So have a think of what categories might be good and get ready to tell us them. Don't tell us them during that, though, because I'm going to be having a wee, so I'm not going to see it.
Yeah. I'm going to move this camera. This camera's too high, isn't it? I'm going to move it down.
I think ideally our heads would be the same size, but my head is twice the size of your head in terms of screen space. So let's work on that for future
in
streams.
Real life, we've done... What we need to do is get a 3D model... and slide you back 10 yards.
We just realised, of course, that people are actually now copying and pasting text from Colin Hinson's website. Please don't do that. For goodness sake, never quote Colin Hinson approvingly or critically. It's equally criminal.
He will find you. He's got a particular set of skills.
Which is looking in old books and copying that information onto our website.
Basic HTML.
Here is my field report from Ilfracombe in North Devon. Hello, James. I'm in Devon. I'm speaking to you from St. Nicholas's Chapel, which is in the background, if you can see me. If you can't see me, just imagine something in the background. It's not a chapel. It's a lighthouse. It's the oldest lighthouse in England, I'm going to say. Basically, all the information is inside the chapel, but it is too hot, so I haven't really read any of it. But it's cute, isn't it? Look at it. There it is. It's got a little fish on top of it. It was built in 1321, and then it was dissolved by Henry VIII. Oh, there's a little bird having a bath. Oh, he's gone. There he is. Oh, there he goes. Oh, never mind. Sorry, there was a bird having a bath. I can't be expected to stay on topic when there's a bird having a bath. So Henry VIII dissolved it, and then it became a lighthouse, and all of the fishermen would come up and receive a blessing before they went out and braved the sea. Pictured here, that is the sea. You heard about that? Oh yeah, I've remembered the other thing. The other thing about this spooky chapel is it's been ever so long. Every time they do work on it, they dig up old mysterious bones and finds buried in the rock beneath it. There he is. You see? There he is there. That's St. Nicholas's chapel. And of course St. Nicholas is Santa Claus, who is famous for giving gifts. However, they've got a telescope over there which charges you 20 pence to look through it and then doesn't work. It's not a telescope, it's a trick. Lies. Lies, 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 lies. That is a lie. It doesn't do anything. It's just a 20 pence stealing machine. And then down there you got a little, got some Victorian steps cut into the very living rock. They've got some Victorian steps. And they've got a little Victorian man there. What's he doing? Oh, he's having a little swim. There he goes. The ghost of a Victorian man. Good luck. So that's my postcard. That's my Loremen postcard. I lost 20p in that telescope, James.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And people are commenting on the fact that I should be wearing a hat, which of course I was when I wasn't on screen. You know,
I can't believe Lizzie suggested that you might not have sunscreen on.
Of course, I put so much on, but I almost got a tan on my. I don't know if you can see. There's a slight dip. There's like a freckle there. Can you see it? Is that coming out? I got a tan. That's my tan.
Wow.
I've developed
cool
some new freckles here on my. It's very painful.
And that got you through the hair.
Well, I had my hair tied back because I'm not. I took the hat off and I let my hair down for the podcast to be on brand, just out of respect for the listeners / viewers.
Yeah, I'm ruining the whole double denim thing.
It's not the season.
This heat.
It's not the season for double denim.
Not at all, unless they are Daisy Dukes and those sort of like biker gang vests.
You would look great in that. I'm wearing my swimming trunks at the moment. I haven't got any short trousers. So right now I'm wearing swimming trunks.
Actual trunks or
no,
shorts?
like shorts. I mean, I'd show you, but terms of service,
no,
probably best.
Yeah.
Probably best not to. So categories for the scores: accents, impressions. Is that been suggested by Mr. Hardacre?
That's good. Yeah, I go with that.
Copyright infringement has been suggested.
Good.
The visual aids, I think I excelled myself, but who knows how much of that will end up in the edited audio version of it. So maybe we leave that. Ice Baby. That's quite good because there's a baby in it as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's no ice.
Well, there's the uncut ice of...
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, amount of ice cut I'd like to have as a category.
Oh, no way. I see your game, James. CSI ABK it has been suggested.
Amount of uncut ice, then.
What amount is that? Victorian
all of it, infinite.
Ellen says, I haven't forgotten what happened last time. I think the chat may be planning to gang up on me because of a previous executive decision I made in a live stream that they weren't happy with. That is very childish. And I'm not impressed.
Was that when you left me alone to talk to them?
No. I don't think anybody blames us for the tech problems. I think they mean when I gave you 4 out of 5 when it was widely agreed that it should be 5, and there was a minor. I think people were calling it a rebellion. I don't know about that, and we edited it out of the podcast so nobody knows.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did like that backlash. I did enjoy that backlash. Copyright violations
and impressions, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. In that case, James, what do you make of that tale?
Quite scary, actually. That it happened enough times. That really takes away the sort of the explanation of it being the people in the cottage is undermined by the fact that there was this repeating pattern of movement.
Yeah, and somebody, in at least one account, somebody is sitting on the wall watching while this supposedly happens. So,
they would have thought to have looked at the cottage,
Do you
surely.
think they would have thought to look to see if somebody was exactly where the ghosts appeared to be? But we just can't know. Are you ready to score?
Yeah.
These
I think I am.
naughty devils. Okay.
Yeah.
First category.
Yes.
Names.
Names.
I was quite cheeky.
Considering
and I threw in a few
you-
at the start that we didn't really have that
you
much to do
threw
with
in
the
a
story.
bunch. Old blooming Whammo Blammo. Mayo. What was his
Hey,
name?
Mo.
Oh, Hey Mo.
Hey, Mo! Yeah.
He unsuccessfully applied to have an exclamation mark added to his name.
And William Wenge, let's not forget.
Oh, Billy Wenge.
Odo Friquet.
Oh, don't forget. Oh, don't you forget about me.
Lucius Ducius. Lucius
Lucius the Ducius.
Rufinus. That is an actual person who died at the age of 28. So that's very young, actually. So we've been a little bit callous.
Who,
for us to
Lucius
be-
the Ducius?
Lucius Ducius. He died at 28, which is the douchiest
But he was a
age.
Ducius.
Frozen forever in douchedom.
What? Was he really the standard bearer of the Ninth
He
Legion?
was a
or is
standard
that
bearer of
just
the Ninth
rumour
Legion.
mill?
No, it's carved into the tomb. It's carved into the stone, and there's a picture of him holding a standard. Yeah, standard bearer of the Ninth
Yeah.
Legion.
And being a
bad.
bit of a douche.
Being a bit of a, yeah. He's like smoking a cigarette and then just flicking it instead of sort of putting it out.
Douche.
Yeah.
Right. Now then.
Rosanna is saying, as a 28-year-old, I'm offended. I can't believe anybody under 30 listens to our podcast, so that's great news.
No.
What's in it for them?
Yeah.
The youth.
It's just they're learning about sort of 90s popular culture and the history of hip hop, I guess.
Yeah, maybe like if you're 21 and you think, I really want to get into a podcast that gives me the background on Noel Edmonds. This is
We've
for
got
you.
at the moment we've got all the ages from 22 to 25.
No, but 22 is the youngest so far. Okay. We're
There was
beacon for the
there
youth.
was a 6-year-old, wasn't there, in that live stream we did once for a festival.
Yes, we have had an actual child.
Mm.
Well, that's good. I'm glad
So-
we appeal to all ages of nerd,
From 22 to 25.
from 22 to 25, the whole range. We've got some good names though, James. We've got Novo Castrensis,
Oh yes, and you've got what was it?
Antonio Banderas.
HGLWT.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. HG, not gonna lie, HGFT, writing in the Newcastle Daily Chronicle, and EA Old.
Yeah, old.
Yeah,
I think what you cleverly did as well is because SBG had actually just initialized a bunch of his main characters, that you managed to get round that by using other names.
yes, I did.
That we turned off. I
Thank you
liked
for
that. I
noticing.
thought that was very clever. I'm concerned though that the use of the earlier names does represent a copyright violation. I don't know if I want to reward that.
Are you? Oh, can't. But James, I didn't think he'd mind.
What? Why? What was his response to I didn't think you'd mind? I do.
Really?
Really? I clearly fucking do. Right.
Come on, these are some quality names.
Yeah, Lucius the
Hey, Mo.
Douchius. It's got to be 5.
Just
It's
for
gotta be
just for
5
Lucius
for
Douchius.
Lucius.
Because if it weren't 5, you, James, would be the douchiest. That's why it has to be 5.
He'd be like, oh, give me 5 points, flicking the V's because V's are 5, obviously.
Yeah, in Rome.
Such
In
a
Rome.
douchius.
Yeah, I was thinking 2, but you're absolutely right. In Roman numerals. Maybe make it like that. Yeah.
5s all the way. Yeah, obviously, Lucius the Douchius.
Okay. Shouldn't have moved that quickly. I'm way too hot for that.
Yeah, that's...
Next category.
Yeah.
I feel a little lightheaded. Next category. Supernatural.
Supernatural. Now,
James, they looked
What you
through a
did-
window and they saw some people there.
a
Explain
bunch
that.
of ghosts.
Explain that with your 21st century cynicism, with your millennial snark. Explain that.
can't. I like that you used the powers of science to prove the existence of ghosts.
I used good faith investigation and empirical evidence to prove that they have to be ghosts. There's no explanation.
Yep. You totally Occam's razored it.
Mm-hmm. I shaved with Occam's razor, getting ready for this episode.
Yes. I cut ice with it. I don't.
That sounds risky.
That's impossible. But there's only 3 ghosts, right?
No. The nurse, mother,
child,
and nun, and the special nun.
Oh, special nun.
Yeah, special nun. Not as exciting a story, I think, but I included it for numerical reasons.
That is good. How do we know that it is a child?
And as Plazen Witch points out, there's also the pseudo ghost from the diagram.
Pseudo ghost.
Yep, there's a pseudo ghost. So
4.5. No,
we don't do halves in this podcast.
No, we don't.
So I say round up like you're doing your tax return. Round up if it's in your favour. Round down if it's in HMRC's favour. That's how it works.
It's our ghosts are in our favour, I think. How do we know that child is a child? That could be. There's no scale, is there, with these ghosts? That could be a full size.
50 pence or.
Yeah, a ghostly
whatever,
50p for
4-point pen. Yeah.
So that could be a giant. That could be 2 giants squabbling over their dinner, for all we know.
Are you saying that's less supernatural?
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
actually.
More
so it's a 4.
It's a 4 for supernatural.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So we're rounding down on the pseudo ghost.
Okay. Pseudo ghost? No, I'm not giving you your pseudo ghost. Peeking up like a little or whatever.
Yeah, like Chaz.
No,
Chaz the pseudo ghost. What? No banana for scale? No. Okay. Next category. Impressions.
Impressions.
It
certainly made an impression.
We've got unintentionally quite a lot of. Do you know what? I'm not going to go with impressions. Can I make it accents? Because I don't think they were strong enough as impressions for me to get any points there.
Okay,
Can we just say
okay.
general accent for this category?
Yes. Very good. I like.
So we did bad John Lennon. I did bad Christopher Lee. No. I did bad.
No. You did bad Hugh Grant.
I did very bad Hugh Grant.
Or good Hugh Laurie.
Maybe, yes.
But it needed to be HG. Oh no, because it was what was it? HG. Oh no, it was HGFT.
I did bad Christopher Lloyd. Thank you, Robe Susan, for reminding me of Christopher Lloyd's surname. I did
that
was
awful.
That
was in the Back to the Future reboot. That was played by Nicolas Cage, I think.
Marty, you've got a special kind of car. I've lost. I'm so tired. Some kind of special car.
Weather experiment. Inigo Montoya. Ouch.
I don't know if I'd say that Antonio Banderas came out as Inigo Montoya, but hey, maybe he did. And that is all the accents. Still, that's quite a lot. That's more than 5.
Yeah, no, there was. I think there was definitely more than 5. So it
we did
gets
German.
A 5 out of 5 for accents.
Yes,
especially as I chucked you in a John Lennon.
Yeah, you did help me out there. Yes. Oof.
So yeah.
Oh, what a hero! Working class hero. That's a John Lennon song. Just a reference to a John Lennon song more than it is as a joke.
Yep.
So, final category. Copyright infringement.
Yeah. This is where it stops from being a nice bit of a fun podcast, and we need to actually think about the implications of what we've done here today.
I think, first of all, in my defence, we were all having a good laugh, James.
Oh, that cuts no ice. I want something. We need something that is going to cut the ice. I think even using the phrase "cuts the ice" is a copyright infringement because I've never heard it anywhere else before. This is the fake out that he's put in there. It'd be like, oh, you're talking about something not cutting ice? That's mine, mate. I invented that.
Like Donald Trump invented the phrase priming the pumps. He invented the phrase cuts no ice.
Yes, Colin. What's his name?
Colin
I don't want to say
Hinson.
it. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to be part of this.
He's not he ain't hinting. He's Colin Hinson. Look, I do like it when things get serious. I love a bit of serious advice. What did I tweeted the other day? Just a stupid thing that I was thinking of getting a fire alarm because at the moment I only have one of those. He's using the toaster alarms, and I got a reply from somebody who works in a fire station in like Plymouth who said, "Great joke, but fire safety is no joke. So, you know, if you need any information about smoke alarms, I'm here." Which was so sweet. As a reply guys
nice.
go.
You've literally said you have a fire alarm.
Like, if you've understood the joke, you know
alarm.
that I do have a smoke alarm, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just in my kitchen for no reason, because I live in one room,
Yeah.
so everywhere is my kitchen. This is my kitchen. It's a kitchen of the mind. That wasn't related. I'm getting hot and tired. That wasn't related to the category. Copyright infringement. You know what? I think I've made a mistake here, because it's my belief that I have committed no copyright infringement in the process of researching the story.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, James. In fact, that is it. In a wild reversal of convention, I am gunning for a 0 here, because Colin Hinson, you can't. I look forward to hearing from your lawyers, because this case is so watertight that if it were to freeze, you wouldn't be able to cut it. That's how watertight it is.
That's right. That is right. I don't know if I want to be part of this court case. I don't think I've got enough time.
This is a joint enterprise, James. We haven't registered this as a limited liability partnership, so if I go down, you go down. You have no defence.
Send the bill to him. Oh no. But if I say so if I give you a big score,
then that's you admitting that you believe we committed copyright infringement.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. So I want the low score in this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, we've got Colin Hinson's lawyer in the chat.
I would give you a low score. And also, but unfortunately, it's a damning indictment of your impressions because none of those bordered on the copyright infringement.
I'll take it. I'll accept that.
Are you allowed to do impressions of people? Is that a copyright infringement?
I don't think. I think it's not.
Good.
There are rights to likenesses. I don't know whether they apply to voices. I'm going to have to press you for a score there, James, because now it's got to the point where we're just asking each other questions that neither of us know the answer to.
Yeah, just some legal, just a few legal questions, guys. This is the legal question live stream.
A podcast where two unqualified people speculate about legal issues. So if you're having any problems, we would just guess.
We only need to change the spelling of the name. We don't actually need to change the name. We just call it Loremen.
Nothing we say constitutes legal advice, just to clarify. Nothing you've heard on the Loremen podcast constitutes advice.
Are we allowed, if we just say it, none of it is an admission of guilt?
Yeah, and absolutely none of it is an admission of guilt. And this podcast is presented for entertainment purposes only.
What would you believe?
If that.
So I've got to go 0.
Yes.
I've got to go 0 just to prove, just so that we could struggle on for another week.
Sweet 0.
Sweet lady 0.
Mm-hmm. I keep doing zeros as the OK symbol, and then remembering that it's now a white supremacist symbol, and quickly correcting. I just want, in case anybody's wondering why I keep doing that, that's the reason. 0.
On work Zooms, when someone tells you to do, the end of the call, you do the wave and stuff like that.
I mean, you are assuming I've ever had a job here, James, but carry on.
Oh, yeah.
Carry on with your relatable on-work Zoom
I'm now
stuff.
having to do, because I used to do the, in a very much not nouveau right way, used to do the OK symbol Is that what? That's probably what they're called.
You've made them sound way cooler. Why would you do that?
Sorry, the Nuevo Castrato or whatever that one was called, Nuevo Castratis. Yeah, so I used to do it, but now I have to do thumbs up. So I just look like a children's telepresenter, which is better than a Nazi ultimately.
But I've just realised that the unfinned okay is just wanker. Really, that isn't it?
It's just I would It's like. I mean, this is stuff that won't go in the podcast.
Probably not.
As smokers, if you want to try and get someone else to go for a smoke with you, you do just flick them the V's. You're right. Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Or Anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say on that.
And what a dramatic conclusion to the live stream that was, James. As we just described different shapes your hands could make.
Yeah. That's definitely not going to be in the audio version.
Absolutely not going to be in the audio version. This has been a warm event. I can only hope that
I should have gone down to the t-shirt. I'm wearing the branded t-shirt.
If it wasn't hot in here before, it's hot in here now. As James whips out an L.
There are terms of service.
Terms of service. Nobody look at James. Close your eyes if you're watching, and if you're listening, stop listening.
Yes.
I don't think it's necessary to say that at this point. I think it's time to wrap up. James, would you like to do a Patreon plug?
Yes, that's the Patreon.
We're both pointing in the wrong direction. There we go. Patreon.com.
And you'll get a badge. You get bonus podcasts. You get more field reports that you can shake a stick at.
Probably, I think the number that we do, you could probably shake a stick at the number that we're managing at the moment.
Because it'd just be boring shaking the stick for that long. And you get access to the Discord.
We've created a Discord.
We got a Discord now. I have a lot of fun on that.
It's basically the same as the chat, but there isn't a live stream going on. It's
It's much lower pressure, I find, for us. So I've found a story which I'm going to actually probably do on the podcast. Something that I got told as a kid, like about this random hotel that we went to on a school trip, is like a proper actual ghost legend. I thought it was just bigger boys bullying us, but it's like an actual proper ghost story. So I can do that another time.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you to everybody in the Discord for suggesting that story. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Help. Thank you, everyone watching over on Twitch and YouTube. Not forgetting YouTube. We've got a few people on the YouTube. Hello to you.
Yeah, they've had a lovely chat.
I'm Alistair Becker King.
And I'm James Shakeshaft.
And this is the Law Boys saying...
Signing off. Last surviving member of the Law Boys. Signing off.
Let's just turn the lights out. And can we both salute at the same time? Do a little changing of the guard.
It's like one big double hand.
Yeah,
saluting
that's weird.
For both of us.
That's extremely
weird.
Like
a bird's flown in.
Can I make it flap? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to the holding screen, James. We can't.
Yeah,
really describe this.
This is not going in the podcast.
James, you forgot to record your half of the podcast, didn't you?
Welcome to the podcast. Let's start again.
I don't know if anybody's still there. If you are, we've got me, so we just need you saying the kinds of things you said during the episode, James. So could you just laugh and then say, great point?
I'm not recording this. I forgot to record this bit even. Let me record this bit at the very least. Hold on. Right. Okay, James Shakeshaft cutaways, take one.
Okay. So just imagine I've said something really witty.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Good. And now I want like a No, more of
really.
Give me more of a you're blowing my mind with this kind of a thing.
Really?
No. Okay, so I just want you to kind of play with it for this one. It's getting worse, James. How is it getting so bad?
No way.
And I just want, for safety, I just want you saying something libelous about Colin Hinson.
Just Control C, Control V, all the way. Control A, Control C, Control V.
Oh, whoa! Selecting all first. Wow.
Oh, big time. But
James, that's going to include the copyright message at the bottom of the page.
Really? The 9-page copyright message at the bottom of every single page.
Thank you.
And that was the podcast.
That was the podcast again. Thanks for everyone to come in. I'm Alistair.
Oh, and I'm James Shakeshaft.
There we go. That's all we need.
Pop that in at the beginning.
The rest of it will just be me talking.
No one will notice. No one will notice.
Thank you to the diehard nerds who are still around.
Are there still
There's still some people. There's still some people there.
They're waiting for us to show Die Hard.
And now a non-copyright infringing, Colin Hinson endorsed version of the film Die Hard. James Shakeshaft is a cop on an aeroplane.
Really?
What's that? He's holding the gun? Don't worry. He's a cop. Relax. It's very good exposition. Anyway, I'm really tired. You're really tired. Everyone in the chair is asleep.
And shamed. I'm full of shame now. I'm going to feel bad about that for 2 weeks.
Welcome to Loremen, the podcast of shame. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.